getting really hot here in our studio because this is the first ever BMW 2 Series Gran Coupé. What's the idea behind this vehicle? What about exterior and interior, different colors, different trims? Everything you need to know here on Autogefühl, your number one resource for in-depth car reviews and your number one community to discuss cars. Today with Thomas. And here in this case also the M235i, the top version of this vehicle. But we'll show you more in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go. In the direct front view, indeed we see some resemblance 1 Series and 2 Series. Also, if you think about the M135i and this one here, the M235i, because they both have this meshed front grille, special to this top sports trim, and also with the frame around it, really strong appearance. Of course, a huge double kidney for a compact vehicle. LED lights are standard. Optional, you can see those ones here are the adaptive LEDs, and then also very strong lower bumpers, and here in high gloss black, and also bigger air intakes right here. 4 meters 52, 14 foot 8 or 178 inches is the length here of the 2 Series Gran Coupé. That's 20 centimeters longer or 8 inches longer than the BMW 1 Series, and I think this indeed makes sense. If you think about the Mercedes CLA, which is so to say the direct competitor of this one here, is now at the same length in the C-Class in this new generation, and here you still have a difference from the 2 Series Gran Coupé to the BMW 3 Series. And I think, this niche in between, that also only makes sense, because this one here is more thought out for the urban user, whereas the 3 Series may be more towards the motorway, because it's also a little bit longer. So this one will be a little bit easier to find a parking spot, but still, of course, a little bit longer than the compact hatch as the 1 Series. But 1 Series and the 2 Series Gran Coupé here, they share the same wheelbase, and they're also on the very same front-wheel driven platform, whereas this top model and also other models can be bought then with the all-wheel drive. This one here, the M235i, always comes directly with the all-wheel drive. Maximum distribution then 50-50. And if you wonder, yes, the 2 Series Coupé and the 2 Series convertible, they will still be on the 3 Series platform with a rear-wheel drive for the more sporty touch. Why did they go for the front-wheel drive platform here? The interior will explain it. Then 16 to 19 inch wheels, those ones are the option, the biggest one, 19 inch, of course they look most spectacular, but a little bit smaller will bring a little bit more comfort. And also 19 inch is just available with the fixed sport suspension, which is standard for the M235i. If you go for 18 inch, you can also opt for the optional adaptive suspension, which will bring you more comfort. And we would indeed advise to go for 18 inch together with the adaptive suspension to have, the best balance of sportiness and comfort. Then chrome frames around the windows. That's beautifully done, especially here with this, it's this coupe style ending with the very strong shoulders, and this very special color, you've seen it initially. It's not exactly what we could call Thomas Blue here in Autogefühl, but I still like it so much because it has this turquoise nuance. And the name is also inspired by that because of, turquoise waters in surfing hotspot in Australia. They call it Snapper Rocks Blue Metallic. Again, Snapper Rocks is the name of the surfing spot. So beautiful in the shape and also beautiful in the color, definitely. And you can always see it from here, where this spoiler begins, special also for this M Performance model. And in the rear we can take another glimpse at this additional spoiler lip, also the 235i logo together with the X-Drive on the other side, signalizing this one is the all-wheel drive model. Then those tail lamps, really horizontally drawn, lighting signature, and also this black strip that goes all the way across the rear. And this lower area is really very voluminous. You can see, especially from my perspective here, This one is actually wider than the top part, and I think it's a little bit too thick in the lower area. Or what's your take on that? The very low end here in the shiny black accentuations again in the 35i, and those exhausts, they look massive, but the outer one is the fake beauty tip, the real exhaust on the inside. That is, for example, also different to the M Sport model then, of course, always depending also on the engine, but here it's always like this. What's your take on that? Well, guys, and you know that I'm not tending towards, very frequent use of emotional appraisal or whatever, but in this case, I mean, exactly this front three-quarter view, this is just pure agile beauty, isn't it? I mean, very, very well done from design, especially then here in the M235i trim. So for this perspective and in this color, A+ from my side. And from yours? So what about the engine? Of course, first starting with the most powerful one, the M Performance engine here. This one for the M235i, 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine, 306 horsepower, 5.1 or 4.9 seconds with the M Performance pack is the acceleration figure, 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. Again, the all-wheel drive, front plus rear, but 50-50 maximum distribution. We've been driving this engine in the X2 and also in the new 1 Series, and it was actually quite good in performance, and also the handling was really in a way that we did not miss a rear wheel bias. However, rear wheel bias is still cool, yes. That's also why Coupe and convertible of the 2 Series will still come with a rear wheel bias. But this one also has advantages we'll show you in the interior. Then other engines will be a 218i, a 1.5-liter 3-cylinder with 140 horsepower, 6-speed manual or 7-speed DCT. So that would be the entry engine, German price about 32,000 euros. And then this one here, always with 8-speed automatic. Also launch control is available by the way. And in the US, you also get something in between, the 228i X-Drive, 2-liter 4-cylinder with 230 horsepower. And then there will also be a diesel 220D, 2-liter 4-cylinder with 190 horsepower, and also made it to an 8-speed automatic gearbox. And now different color, different trim. This one here is called Storm Bay Gray Metallic. And here we have the M Sport model. This one has already the sporty visuals, but does not necessarily come with the highest horsepower spec engine. You can see here in the front, those vertical fins in the double kidney, more chrome use, and also different accentuations in the lower part, but overall already quite sporty. Of course, you can pick different colors for this one as well. How do you like the side profile here? You maybe also seen that this one is equipped with 18-inch wheels, so that would be our tip, because again you can also opt for the adaptive suspension. In general, the 2 Series Gran Coupé can be bought with a normal suspension, then the sport suspension, which is standard for M Sport and the M235i, then optional the adaptive suspension. So, our pick would be either stick with normal if you go for base one, or the adaptive one if you want more comfort, sportiness, flexibility, or if you have the M Sport model or the M235i. And another rear three-quarter perspective, again, beautiful design job, definitely. Here the M Sport model, you see, is without the additional spoiler, and I think it looks even a little more elegant, or what do you think? And the rear part here again is also here in the M Sport pretty thick already. Is it too much? I'm not really sure. So that would be maybe the one criticism point from my side, but other than that, such a beautiful car. Then the lower part here with real exhaust tips, and I would actually prefer this honest look if you compare it to the M235i. Please leave me your comments as for that, but definitely the other blue color there, the turquoise waters color, that's definitely my favorite for today. Here we have the car key in the M Sport and the M235i, also with the M colors. Slim and light, I like it. There's also keyless entry available when you put your hand here on the outside, or just a finger here on those marks, or then hand on the inside then to open it again. And this one here is a true coupe. So therefore, we also have the frameless doors, and they are of course a little bit more emotional, and also to me a practical function, because when you, for example, lower the windows when you get out of a parking lot or so, why don't I show you? So the thing is, I've done it a couple of times then with convertibles or with coupes. So let's say you are in a very narrow parking lot like this. So park your car, and then it's like, oh, I cannot really open the door very much. Then you open it just slightly, put your foot out, and then you can reach over like this. And when the glass would be there, of course it would, hit you. So, but in this way, the parking spot can be very narrow, and you can get out. So if you talk to your wife, for example, or to your husband, if you want to buy this one, you say, heck, hey, it's more practical if we go for a coupe or convertible. You can easier get out in parking spots. So, and then close the door, and then you close the car and hold the closing button, keep holding it, and then the windows are closing. So, and that could be actually a good reason for, just trying to find some arguments to go for a more emotional car. And you can see here the side mirrors, they flip in or they flip out again. And there's also this BMW puddle light. Yeah, they're called puddle lights when it's wet on the road and so on. And you might see some puddles before you walk into them and your shoes get wet. So now the rest of the interior. Beautiful LED ambient lighting right here, and they're also a little bit more joyful with materials, for example here with the blue fabric. And the interior of the M Sport or the M235i are basically the same. Blue contour stitches here, soft touch. Also the top part here is soft touch. Hofmeister kink design element inspired by early BMW coupes. Also galvanized, great build quality. Door pockets, you can fit some bottles here. Then you got the M entry badge. It just says 235i when it's the other version. Also with the M Sport steering wheel, it is actually pretty thick. And you can already see this digital layout of the screens. Soon more details to that, what is what. Seats, there will be a lot of different seats available. It will start with, for the Gran Coupé, for the two-series Gran Coupé, with base seats in fabric, all fabric, at least in European markets. Then you can get sport seats, which are a little bit more accentuated on the shoulders, and you can get them in all Sensatec, sustainable leather red, in black or beige. That will be predominantly for the US market also. Then you can also get a fabric Sensatec mix, so fabric on the inside, Sensatec outside. And this one here is the optional, let's call it super sport seats or M Sport seats. Then with the integrated head restraint, visually even more attractive than we know with this, let's say, fake hole inspired by racing where the belts come through and so on. And this one here has a fabric mix on the inside where it should stay even cooler in summer. And then Alcantara use on the outside, a perfect mixture and, of course, visually the best seat. It's not clear yet if it's also available in the US. In the 1 Series, for example, they were rather going with the base sport seats, but that's also totally fine. So both seats are actually quite cool. And which seat is better as for the comfort? That really depends on your personal body. So we all have often the case that the top sport seats are less comfortable, but sometimes in some rare occasions, it's the other way around. And as far as I remember from the 1 Series comparison, it's here the case that the optional sport seats are bringing you a little bit more comfort. So I'm actually fine with those, good comfort. Here we have it with manual controls actually, but it's also fine here for pumping up your. Yeah, they just do it because we can keep the Autogefühl meme. And then this is a little bit strange to control here if you compare it to a lot of other vehicles, but you lift this and then you can control the back part of the seat, but why not? You can also make the lower area here a little bit longer, and it's a sporty seating position definitely, but you have enough space. Headroom here with 1.86 m or 6'1" is also given. And yeah, in the front you definitely feel like being in the new 1 Series, so this is not much of a difference. Steering wheel can also be adjusted pretty easily. So that's cool. And again, a lot of high-class materials. All the functionalities and all the material quality and so on, here also soft touch, is really inspired by their higher segment models. So even if you go for a compact sedan here with BMW, you enjoy most of the stuff you can also get like even 5 Series or 7 Series or something. Also assistance systems wise, for example. So, and I think that's also a very, very interesting development on the whole car market, that all the systems that are being offered, they definitely cross the car line. Here, by the way, the Harman Kardon sound system, that one is an option. The amount of speakers actually varies definitely what you can pick. 6 speakers, 10 speakers, or this one here, the optional 16 speakers sound system. 16 speakers in a compact vehicle, that's quite rare, and really looking forward to play some music. Now the interior overview, yes, it's identical to the one of the 1 Series, the new generation. Soft touch here on the dashboard everywhere. Then the thick M steering wheel in the M Sport or the M235i. Heated steering wheel is also available. Then we got this, nice element with a structure right there, and also some more part of the ambient lighting. The climate unit is still separate or still manual to control. I like that, so it's easier to control it while driving, definitely. So that's, just easier. And also the seat heating. In lower part you have some hotkeys and a metal knurled volume knob. And the cockpit setup as we have here. So it starts with a base 2 Series Gran Coupé, would start with analog instruments with 5.1 inch smaller screen in the middle, and on the right side would be 8.8 inch. That one then is called BMW Live Cockpit or Live Cockpit Plus when the GPS is inside. And what you can see here is the upgraded version that's called BMW Live Cockpit Professional. Then left side 10.25 inch all digital instruments, and right side 10.25 inch widescreen right there. So 2 times 10.25 inch. And here on the left side, for example, the most functions you can only see then when you start up the car, which I'm allowed to do so. Yes, today. And you can see the RPM, they go counterclockwise. And you have to get used to it for BMW, definitely. But then again, the reason is that on the inside, then you have space, for example, for GPS information. And yeah, that makes sense then, in a way, definitely. If we move over then to the right side, here with the screen, either you control via touch, so that's possible. How the GPS is being led and so on, that's also cool. So it's very responsive, and you can just say it again from experience using GPS systems on driving events. The BMW GPS so far are always among the best working. You can also get back to the home menu, and you can also use the central controlling knob in the lower part, for example, while driving. That comes handy. Talking about handy, we say handy to mobile phone in German. It's like a German-English expression, which doesn't exist in UK or in US. That's a funny one. Go to the Apple CarPlay, which is wirelessly connected. It takes a while to connect it, but if you have done it once, then you're good to go. And what about this this optional sound system? Let's test it right here. This is the 16-speaker Harman Kardon sound system. Wow, this is a nice surround sound. I like that. So I would try maybe to save some options, but yeah, maybe that would be one I would indeed go for. Oh, this sound is awesome. What up, Jonas? Shall we stay here and just listen to music? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, but first let's finish the review for you. Really awesome sound here. So back to the home menu right there, because the car menu is always interesting here too. Have a nice visualization here, and also in the storm gray metallic color. So that's pretty fancy. Like when they actually keep it in the very vehicle color right there. So good system. Only one thing is missing. What about the voice control? Hey BMW.
Hello. What can I help you with?
Drive me to Berlin.
All right. Our next destination is Berlin.
Oops, sorry, I just got out, but she was actually finished. So that is, GPS input is one good thing, and together with the MBUX by Mercedes, this one is the best voice input system on the market at the moment. So I really liked it, have been using it a couple of times, and you can also, for example, change the temperature, or even with helping connecting your smartphone, that can also be done. So that's the main reason to go for the optional infotainment system, I think. Then, if we go a little bit further down, we can see I've put the smartphone in here, and this is like a rubber background there behind this, and therefore it's also like being held absolutely tightly, and this is also the inductive charging platform behind there. However, there's still normal USB supply right there. Then the cup holders are not adaptive, so wondering about that they don't have this typical BMW holders. They snap a little bit in and out, but it's not here. 12-volt power supply. Then there's a sporty shifting lever where you can go to the manual shifting if you put it to the left side. If you're not using the shifting pedals, start stop function, everything well integrated. Metal knurled control knob right there for turning and pressing, or also writing on the top part. So quite intuitively done, everything. And last but not least, there's this armrest with this well attached blue contour stitches, and underneath is another USB-C port in this case. And if you know me, guys, you know that I like back mirrors which are frameless, elegant, but at the same time offer a bigger field of view to the back. And yeah, I mean, it's a compact sedan, so the view to the back is not the best, but still, design-wise still it's a good compromise. You can see what's going around you. And you can get this optional head-up display, for example, for current speed, allowed speed, even some GPS directions, and it's really crystal clear and sharp and in your line of sight. It's a very good option, I think. And now to the rear compartment. Of course, also frameless as for the doors, and also with the ambient lighting right there. And we also have this beautiful fabric Alcantara mix here for the rear bench. And the typical BMW rear bench shape in this very compact and, round design. And the thing is, here for example, also soft touch at the rear door. So that's also premium quality at the inside of the doors. And this compact segment is, of course, no, let's say, packaging wonder as for the legroom. And I mean, it does exactly fit with 4 tall adults. The same goes also for the new 1 Series, but in the predecessor generation of the 1 Series, it was not really possible. So we have gained a little bit more legroom from platform to platform. Here with those optional sport seats, you lose some legroom. But then again, when you hit it with your knees a little bit, there's a soft back. When you go for the normal sport seats, you have a hard shell background, but you have a little bit more legroom. So, yeah, I mean, it is, of course, significantly better than with the 2 Series Coupe you will have, for example, but still somewhat limited, but you can live with it. Headroom does exactly fit. I cannot put a hand over my head, but it exactly fits here with my head. You see the roofline is a little bit falling, but you can still drive it with 4 tall adults, but just barely, so to say. But if you then think about if this one here would be then a rear-wheel driven platform with longer front hood and then less space on the interior, then this one here would not be possible. Isofix at the outside seats each. You do not flip the seats from here. That's not possible. You do it from a trunk. The only thing you can do from here is use the ski hatch right here. Or alternatively, cup holders here, also adaptive. On the middle seat, yeah, it is also possible somewhat, yeah, that works. So for emergency situations. And in the middle part, there's also a middle tunnel. There are 2 USB-C devices. And now to the hatch. There we go. And of course, you have a little bit limitation here in loading in and out. That is better than with the 1 Series hatch. So more space underneath, but you better ask for the trunk length if you compare it to a 1 Series hatch here with the 2 Series Gran Coupé. And that's then here in the trunk in length. Yeah, almost a meter is like 95 centimeters, and the width is exactly, maybe a little bit less than a meter. And the height right here is about 45 centimeters. But if you then think about the height below the cover of a hatch, then this one here is actually totally fine, maybe even a little bit higher if you think, again, under this cover. So about flipping the seats, you release them right here, and also on the other side. There we go. And then either you put some things in the trunk which can push them right through, or you go around to flip them right here, and then you have this opening right there. And this one is, of course, then a significantly longer length than you would have in the hatch, or then, of course, in the 2 Series normal coupe. And here then we go to the front seat with almost 1.70 meters. And now to our conclusion for today with the BMW 2 Series Gran Coupé. First of all, I think it makes sense to position this one lengthwise between the 1 Series hatch and the 3 Series sedan, or touring then of course. As I said, with the CLA and the C-Class at Mercedes, it doesn't make sense lengthwise. So here that you can somehow better find a parking spot than with the 3 Series, but still have some more trunk length than, for example, with the 1 Series hatch. Yeah, I mean, the 1 Series hatch is, of course, more practical to load in and out, but I think you can still live with that one. And also with this front-wheel driven platform, yes, I really enjoy driving rear-wheel driven cars. However, since I have more legroom than here on the interior, it also has a pro side of that. And especially in this top sporty spec here, we did experience it before that it really makes sense also in an agile way to drive it with the X-Drive, so you don't really miss the rear-wheel bias when you have like a very neutral and balanced handling. The weight is also not that high and so on. And design-wise, I think really top-notch, especially in this front or front three-quarter perspective. A very sporty design, but yet very elegant. Yeah, in this top sporty spec, I wasn't really a fan of the the lower spoiler in the end. That's the only thing I would not like design-wise. But that's, I think, also just matter of personal taste. But I think what's important, of course, it looks more spectacular here in the M235i trim, yes. But even a base 2 Series Gran Coupé will have the basic elegant lines, so you don't have to pay the most money already to get this beautiful design, sedan design. The interior also with a high build quality, also the optional sport seats, which are pretty cool, but you can also live with the base sport seats, of course, but definitely they have a very interesting choices right there for the interior, and you get all the features you might expect also from rather the bigger BMWs. All the technologies also now available for the compact size models. And also reasonable legroom there where you can somehow combine it. When you think about 2 Series Coupe or 2 Series Convertible, there's no real legroom, won't also be in the new generation. So if you still want the sport design on the exterior, but still some usability on the interior, that could be then the interesting mix as for that. Of course, we're looking forward to drive it very soon and keep you updated here on Autogefühl, so please subscribe if you haven't done so far, and see you next time.